All right, good evening, you guys. It is, oh my gosh, what day is it? It's the 24th of August. We are nearing the end of Team Cup, so that's very exciting. And with that, I think that talking about challenge groups and running effective challenge groups and bringing people back that have gotten quiet, I think that this is a great topic because at this point you've either started a challenge group for the month of August or you're about to start one towards the end of the month after you've got everyone getting their challenge packs, you've got everyone ready with their um in their groups and stuff. So I'm really excited to talk about this. So I wanted to first share with you guys the importance of challenge groups, at least for me, because I was a challenger before I was a coach, and the challenge group is what made the difference for me, because it was just as if someone had told me, like, this is what you're meant to do. And it was because of my first challenge group. So I am forever grateful for my initial personally sponsor or upline coach for signing me up, because that's what made the difference for me. I didn't do it initially for myself. I started because I really like being praised. And so I loved all the comments. I loved seeing other people go, "Oh my gosh, Catherine, like, you're so inspiring and that's so great." So I didn't actually do it for me to start out with, like, because the workout sucked. I was sore. I hadn't worked out effectively in forever, and it freaking sucked. Okay. So I really didn't do it for me. I really did it because I wanted the kudos. I wanted the comments, and I wanted people to be like, "You inspired me to do mine." And so challenge groups and effective challenge groups are definitely the main funnel for your coaches. Even though a lot of people suggest leading invitations with the business before a challenge group, you always end up falling back on the products and back on your challenge groups. So some people prefer the business aspect. Some people prefer the challenge groups. Most coaches have an affinity for one or the other. You know what I mean? Some people love the challenge group and the environment and everything. And then other people love the leadership and the trainings of coaching. People just tend to kind of gravitate towards one or the other. But regardless of that, you still have to be effective with both. So that's something I also really love about coaching, is that, we're not just like selling an eyeliner or a mascara or like an oil or a wrap. We have to wear many hats. And to me, it reminds me of nursing, because, in nursing, I wear many hats. I'm a psychologist. I'm a doctor for medications. I have to think critically for all my patients. I'm a friend. I'm an advocate. I am, sometimes they're physical therapists, talking to them about proper form and doing things correctly, because a physical therapist is only there for them a certain period of the day, and then I'm there the rest of the day. So I wear many hats. And so I feel like, as with coaching, you wear many hats. You're a leader for your team. You're a leader for your challenge group. You're a guide. You're also an advocate. Sometimes you're someone's only motivation, only support system, because they don't necessarily know anyone else in the challenge group yet. So the only person they know personally that supports them is, sometimes it's just you. They might not have any support at home. And, I had family laugh at me when I was starting. So my support was my significant other, and then the girls in my groups. So it was a lot. So I really want to stress that not only do we have a funnel for, bringing people in and getting them interested and talking to them and having those conversations and keeping someone in that funnel, but then we also have another funnel or another hat and funneling people into coaching. So I just want to go over how you start it. I like to start groups on Mondays. For example, I'm starting a group this Monday, and I always allow my coaches to bring their people in, whether they're new coaches or coaches that don't have enough challengers, or want to continue in ours for a while. I always allow people to stay in, as long as they need to. once they have enough challengers though, I usually like to push out the coop. They fly free. So I prefer, and again, this is all your preference, to start my challenge groups later in the month, because I like to do it like mid-month towards the end of the month, because you're getting everyone ready in the beginning of the month. You're doing your inviting. And the idea is that you want to hit Success Club by, the 15th, so that the rest of the month you can focus on your challenge group, but you can also then help the rest of your team hit Success Club the second half of the month. And that's something that I've heard Bonnie Engel say. It's something I've heard lots of other coaches say. And that's, been one of my goals that I set a while back, was the first half of the month, I'll like focus on me and focus on my goals in terms of my business. And then the second half of the month, I can focus on all the other people, my challengers and my coaches. So this month happens to be an exception, because I was, you guys all know, I was in a car accident and I had to buy a car, and that was a huge thing. So this month was a little crazy, but I feel like sometimes that always happens. The bigger challenges happen during months when it really counts and my focus is really needed. For example, because it's Team Cup, it has really forced me to stay focused. So I considered that a challenge that I was ready to accept, that was also forced upon me to accept and to deal with. So next is, if you have a theme, do you set the requirements for your challenge group. You make the requirements simple. You can pick a theme. My last challenge group, I kind of bounced off of the same group that my upline Amanda had suggested. She's done a sweat more, bitch less group, and she has really loved that, because it's been like a no excuses, make it happen, like no, enough bitching, just sweat it out, like do it. And her target market really liked that. And my target market, I haven't had a lot of engagement in that group. So that's the next thing I want to talk about, is that there's nothing wrong if you run a group and it's not very engaging, if it's not getting very far. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with failure. We talk about that all the time with inviting. The same thing with challenge groups. You just have to do it. And it's the same thing as riding a bike. You just have to keep going, and it'll get better and better every single time. So you pick a theme for your group, set the requirements, you invite like crazy, and only enroll your people. Like, I wait until I see the order in the back office. Don't just believe what someone says to you. Some people do that, and then you've added them to this group, and then they never actually ordered it, and then they've already been jumped in, then you remove them, and then they get mad at you. I've heard that happen recently with some of my team, that someone, oh yeah, I totally ordered it, it's all done, and then it didn't go through, and then they got taken out, and she was like, well, that was really rude, and I can't believe, anyway. So make sure that you see it in the back office, and if not, like, troubleshoot that as soon as possible and get them in. Something that I've had to remind myself, especially during this month, because the emphasis is always on Success Club, especially these months, is that there is another human being on the other side of the computer. And when people are gunning for Success Club, and people are gunning for, a rank advancement, and they're gunning for an increase in their pay, they forget about the fact that, like, there's another human being on the other side of that phone or that computer. So keep that in mind, and kind of keep your humanity, and keep yourself in check. Remind yourself that your goal is to help people, and not, they're not a Success Club point, and you're not going to be successful anyway if all you see is a number over their heads or a dollar sign on their foreheads. So keep that in mind. And remember, when you're inviting, we all know 1 to 2 out of every 10, people might say yes. But even then, the 1 to 2 that say yes might not actually follow all the way through. So that is why the consistency is key, so that you don't worry about the day-to-day, did that person end up buying that challenge pack or not? That way you don't worry about it. Leading with the challenge pack is what I always do. And because they've kept the price so freaking low for the all access challenge pack, January, it was $200, and we thought that was an amazing deal. They've kept it at $160 for months now, and it's freaking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So you get us an entire subscription for Beachbody On Demand for a year, plus you only spend $60 on Shakeology. I mean, all I got was freaking 21 Day Fix Extreme when I signed up and a month of Shakeology for the same exact price, the same workout. And I did that same workout over and over and over again because I didn't have any others. And at the time, I didn't have the money to buy more programs. So really see the value of that and always lead with the challenge pack. Don't say, oh, and if you don't want to do that, there's this option instead. You know, always lead with it. And I don't really give people any other options. If someone says, if someone's like, I really prefer, as much as I'm against it, CrossFit, certain CrossFit gyms that don't exactly follow what the original guidelines for CrossFit was set for, if you know what I mean. If someone says like, I'm addicted to this, I want that, but I also really need help with the nutrition because it's not quite helping me. CrossFit is helping in terms of my fitness, but my health, so I'm not seeing the rest of the results. That's fine. If that's what they're interested in, but I really still suggest a challenge pack, mostly because let's say that someone that likes, CrossFit or something, I would still suggest it because it's almost the same exact cost as if they were to just order Shakeology. And they have that for off days when they're not in CrossFit. I say, like, I've said to someone who, that's my example, CrossFit, because that's who I've talked to recently. I've said, well, I think it's important because you have access to yoga and to lower impact stuff in between CrossFit days. Because if all you do is you lay around and stay sedentary, you do CrossFit 3 to 4 days a week. If all those other days you just lay around, you don't do anything, that's where the injuries come from, as well as the high intensity workouts and stuff. It's hard on your joints to do nothing. So I said to her, the importance of doing some PiYo or doing what's called the 3-week yoga retreat. We have yoga and stuff so that you can still do CrossFit, but utilize that in between. And she was like, okay, I get what you're saying and I understand that. So, really remember that there's a human on the other side of that line and there's something very special that they need. So that's something special that she would need that I can help her with. Nutrition, but then also what to do on the in-between days to prevent as much as possible injury, since she's choosing to do that. So prep week, you want to, depending on what you want to do, I have found that I've done the long-term challenge groups, and kind of more recently, I've decided I'm not going to do long-term challenge groups anymore, because that's when I lose the engagement. I feel like I lose engagement from people if it's more than 30 days. So I have recently decided I'm just going to do, 5-week challenges, mostly to include a prep week. So introducing yourself, having a fun visual, asking people what they hope to learn this week during prep week, ask them who their coach is. If it's, someone who, if it's not only your challengers, if your coaches are adding other people, what are your goals? What do you see as your biggest obstacle? And what do you see as your biggest obstacle just this week? Not your overall biggest obstacle, but what do you see right now in front of you that's really daunting? And I'm just giving you guys a game plan, for example, for what I plan to start on Monday, because that's what's all we can talk about is what we're doing, right? So another suggestion is to get people, pair people up or ask them like, hey, if you really vibe with someone in the group, like send them a message and let's make you guys kind of like accountability partners to text each other each day. Or, let's teach them how to use Zoom. And then those two can do like a Zoom call together or get together in person and work out together as a team. So talk about their why and their goals. So you set your goal, you make a plan, you get to work and you do that. You put your head down, you focus, you stick with it, and then you ultimately reach that goal. And if you really emphasize the simplicity of that, that will help make it less overwhelming. Because I just remember I still a lot of the time struggle, even now, with the idea of meal prepping and planning 3 weeks worth of stuff. That's why I loved Shift Shop so much, because even though the meal plans were pretty aggressive, they were like salmon salads and shrimp salads and things that I would never have made for myself for lunches. they were already planned for me. And in fact, there's a grocery list right there of everything I need to buy, the number of apples I need, the number of bananas, the amount of fruit and veggies and meats, so I liked that. Although the meal plan was definitely way more aggressive than I would have planned for myself because I pick things that are a lot simpler. But it got me out of my comfort zone, and I feel like I've grown from that. And I've also tried different foods and different things for my lunches that I wouldn't have tried. So get them to see the simplicity of it and how to just make it simpler for their life, and how to, they can add this into their life without freaking out and spending hours upon hours and lots of time. Because the idea is, that's why we now have 30-minute workouts, because that's simple, that's easy to include in your day every day. We have to do the same thing with meal planning. So show them how I don't want to say I hate this word, duplicatable, or can anybody correct me on that? I really hate saying it. Duplicable? Thank you. I struggle with, or duplicatable. Anyway, I know I'm like, Valentine's like, Jesus, Catherine. So show them how easy it is to duplicate. Okay. I worked today, so I'm a little fried. It's my like Friday. So I have this Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So I'm a little fried. Anyway, so I've also started, what I had started for the Shifts Shop workout program was having everyone sign a commitment form. And I really loved that. If you don't have one yourself, create one on Google Docs, because that's an easy, you can share the link really easily. So that's an easy one. And then have them either take a picture of it or send it back to you or whatever, filling out their commitment to this program, to themselves, to to your team, saying others are relying on you, and your commitment to your health. And add a welcome video explaining what to expect the next 5 weeks or 4 weeks or however long your group is. Make it a video of you as well. Don't just share videos constantly. It's not reinventing the wheel if you're doing some of your own videos that would have taken you probably the same amount of time as it would have to find a video explaining something. So in the time it would take me to find a video that Lindsay Matway explained something, I could just start a freaking Zoom call, press record, and talk about it myself for 20 minutes, and then load it onto my YouTube, and then it's there forever. And then I can just send my YouTube video out to people. So for example, I've done videos showing, of course, now that Beachbody On Demand is different, I have to remake a video of showing people how to use Beachbody On Demand. But before they changed the format, I just said, here's where you get your workouts. Here's where the meal plans are. I've done the same thing with, here's how to order just Shakeology. Here's how to order your challenge pack. Here's how to do this and that. And it's taken me, they're 5-minute videos. They're easy, but someone sees me, sees my face, sees my personality. So it helps connect you more with them. And the closer people feel through social media, the more likely they are to post, the more engagement you're likely to get. So a welcome video of you sharing what they're going to expect, how to contact you the best way. I have no problem telling my team, like, I also work full time. So here's when I'll be on my social media with you guys. Or we can also schedule ahead of time a one-on-one call. You can do that. Just share with them your schedule, and let them know. The people on this call don't just do this full time at this point yet, but that's okay. That way, that's how I personally compartmentalize things. I have to have things in different boxes, or I'll just, want to kill myself because it's just too much. So give them your schedule, say, here's how to contact me. Here's how things flow. And then explain to them that this isn't like a maybe that you want to commit to. This isn't like I kind of sort of want to do it. I kind of sort of bought a challenge pack. I kind of sort of put my credit card information in and hit ship. I kind of sort of picked a flavor of Shakeology. No, you did this. You committed to it. You and I talked for a while. We discussed it. You have this commitment form to fill out. You've now signed a piece of paper, which for some reason makes people commit more to it when they sign a dotted line. And so, you've done it. So you've done the hardest part is, like, for some people, is making that money materialize and making that work. Cause that a lot of times is people's biggest objection is the money. Well, now that they've freaking done it, I mean, I have, someone in particular I'm thinking of that, like, I'm thinking like, oh my God, like you spent the money for Christ's sake for this Beachbody On Demand. You've done this, you've done that. Why in the world are you wasting it? I mean, you could have just mailed me $160 if that's what you wanted to do. Like I could have just, and you can even include that in your opening post. Like, you know what? Like, I want you to commit to this because if not, I literally you could have just mailed me $160 check and say, but that's not what I want for you. It's not what you want because that doesn't benefit you. So let's together make this commitment as a team and as a group and as a family. And I think that's a really great point to make to people, to not kind of sort of commit to let's jump in because what do you have to lose? And when you ask that question, you might get a deeper meaning behind things. When you ask, okay, fine, like you've committed to it, why wouldn't you jump in 100% right now anyway? What do you have to lose? And then someone could say, oh, well, and then all of a sudden they're like, their insecurities come out. And then you know what to work on with them. Then okay, here's what's going on. So you get to people's deep rooted reason why they want this, because then you can also know what might hold them back along the way. And the emotional reason that got them into this, because that same emotional reason could be the reason that's also going to hold them back or why they won't finish it, commit 100%. You know what I mean? That can still be the same reason. The same reason they clicked order could be the same reason that holds them back in another week, So get to that reason right away and work it out with them. So I send, because they've made an investment in me and an investment in themselves, I also make an investment in my challengers. So I send them a personal development book. That's my personal choice. Some people can't afford that right at the time being, or some people don't want to do that. That's just my choice because I love giving, and gift giving is receiving gifts is one of my love languages. So I love to give people gifts. So I send them, in particular, I send You Are a Badass. If someone signs up as a coach, I send them the Compound Effect. So I always start out with You Are a Badass because it's a great intro to personal development. It's funny because Jen Sincero matches my personality really well. Like, I loved reading her book and I found it funny and a great way to start my personal development journey. That's how I also identify my like-minded people. That's how I identify my team members, is by going, okay, if they really resonated with that book, then we've got similar personalities then, because they have similar, humor, and they can make light of certain things, the way that she talks, that she swears in her books and she uses sarcasm. And, because I vibe with that, I send that book to see if they vibe with that. So I personally send them that in a welcome card. I send a card. I go to, the dollar store. You can get, for a couple dollars, like a 10 or a 20 pack of little cards, and just write a thank you to them and welcome. And I'm really excited to have you on the team. And, I'm here if you need anything. So I just love cards. I'm kind of old school. So anyway, then ask them what they want to accomplish the first week, because let's say someone's goal ultimately is to lose like 30, 40, 50 to 100 pounds. That is a huge goal to look at straight in the face. And I have not had to lose 100 pounds, thank God. And so I don't know that feeling, but I can imagine it's daunting to look at that. So what do you want to accomplish in just the first week? Do you want to just do your workouts every day? Do you want to just make that happen? You know what I mean? Do you want to try to do your workouts every day, but really hone in on your nutrition? Do you want to try to figure out how to make a meal plan? I mean, the littlest non-scale victory can be someone's goal for that week, because that can make a huge difference. If you ask them to take on the world the first day, they're going to go running. I mean, running. If I was told to take on the world the first day, I would have been like, peace, and I would have been like, I'm out. But it takes time and consistency. And also, little stuff like not putting cream in your coffee anymore, or not putting sugar in your coffee anymore. Not adding what was a great non-scale victory for me when I did Shift Shop was wasn't adding agave to my yogurt because I buy Fage, and it's sour. Plain yogurt is sour. You know what I mean? And so I always added agave. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure I added a more liberal amount than what I was supposed to add because I would just go, oh, and I was like, oh, that's delicious and healthy. And I stopped it. And even now, after I'm done with Shift Shop, I have not added agave to it. And you get used to that, the flavor, you get used to it. And so, that's a great non-scale victory. And so any little non-scale victory is really, really fabulous. Or someone says, I woke up earlier this morning to meal prep. Okay, great. If you've read The Miracle Morning, when they first start The Miracle Morning, they talk about the way he sets it up. He basically says that people that aren't morning people are eventually going to become alcoholics, drug addicts, and losers and unsuccessful. Like he literally, makes it sound like if you don't become a morning person, you suck and you're gonna like have addiction problems. Like I've been listening to it again on Audible, and the paragraph where he really talks about that, and he goes, oh yeah, like morning people are 60% less likely to have drug addiction issues. And I'm like, oh dear God, like so if I don't get up early, I could become a drug addict. Like just the way he implies some of these things, that's a non-scale victory. Then someone got up earlier to meal prep their stuff, or did people decide I'm going to make a lifestyle change and wake up early because it's the only time I could possibly fit it in my day? That's fantastic. That's a huge non-scale victory. So get creative with those and think of any possible non-scale victory, and then, yeah, that's all I want to say about that. Just focus on like the first week, what they want to accomplish the first week. And then the next week, what do you want to accomplish this week? And what do you want to maintain? So, get them to set goals that are focused on the non-scale, not just the inches and the weight, because I've said it before, like the weight and the inches come off when you make the lifestyle changes and when you make the mental shift. That's the bottom line. So all of that other stuff, all that other stuff, it'll come off. It will. If you're eating well and you're making the mental changes, like, okay, you're dealing with the emotional eating or whatever you're dealing with. If you're dealing with that, then the inches will come off, So that's like a non-worry thing. You know what I mean? If you approach it like that, like, hey, I'm not worried about your weight. I mean, your doctor might be because of your blood pressure or whatever, but we're not going to worry about your weight right now because that needs to be the last thing on your mind because it's just going to compile the pressure. What I want you to do is do your 30-minute workout every day and don't add the sugar in your coffee each morning. Or start your day off with a protein. Something simple. Because immediately when doctors tell people you have to lose 100 pounds like yesterday or you're going to die, like that's helpful. Thanks, doctor. Like as if that's going to happen. So something like that, I'd be so happy with if someone has a goal like that. If someone comes to me and they say, I have some major lifestyle changes I have to make for my heart or whatever, I think, okay, like I want you to, let's not add sugar in your coffee this week. Let's get used to that first. That's it. Just something small. And that's the idea of the compound effect. Small, seemingly insignificant changes compacted over time leads to dramatic changes, right? That's what we need to teach our people without directly saying it like that, so you almost have to be a psychologist as well. That's another hat that a coach wears, is teach them it without being so direct about it. Because sometimes people don't receive things that way. Help them make those small changes over time and then show them after time, say, hey, look where you started with that small, changing the sugar. And then now look where you are, 4 months later, you now only have one cheat meal a week. And otherwise you are 100% clean every day. And you don't drink. You're not drinking 7 days a week anymore. Something like that. Anyway, so save these commitments. So when people are, when these people get quiet, save these commitments in a binder or a picture or a file on your phone or your computer. Save the commitments that people have made and their goals. Send that so that you can send them that picture of their goals again, and you can remind them, hey, I noticed you've kind of been quiet recently. Is everything okay? Oh, well, things just got really busy. I got into a car accident and I had to buy a new car, and I'm working full time. Plus I'm going to be moving in the next couple months, and so it's been awful. It's been terrible, Catherine. Okay, well, I want to remind you, since you gave me permission in your commitment contract, I want to remind you that, you felt like crap a couple months ago and you were feeling really terrible, and summer's around the corner again. And when you initially came to me last year, you were crying in the middle of a Macy's, department store trying on swimsuits, and you were horrified at your body, and summer's coming around the corner again. So I'm here for you no matter what. And I know it's been a crappy month. Things happen, but let's jump back in. You have Beachbody On Demand. Tell me, what program do you want to start on Monday? And how can I support you and get you ready this weekend? That's it. You reconnect with them, tell them about their goals again, remind them, okay, remember that this is so much bigger than the stupid car accident you were in, or, your car that you have to buy. This is so much bigger than that, and remind them of that. And that's a great way to connect with someone personally again and get them up and running again. So, doing a kickoff call or weekly meal planning call or a weekly call with a theme, whether it's on Zoom, and you don't have to pay for Zoom. You get 40 minutes free on Zoom, and that's plenty of time. I mean, we're all busy. So that 40 minutes time cap is plenty of time for you to do a kickoff call, or meal planning call. And you can also, we have the option now to go live in our Facebook groups, and people can, as you're live, post real quick and ask questions like, oh my God, what was that oil I just saw you put on your Brussels sprouts? Like, what did you just use? Or what spice was that? People can ask real quick live, or you can go back later and respond to everybody. And help get people started with what bracket they're in. For some reason that throws people off doing the math. Sometimes doing the math to figure out what bracket they're in, for some reason, that confuses people. So know that and anticipate that ahead of time. And like I said, if something's not working, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't beat yourself up if a challenge group's not working. Setting up a posting schedule is something that I aspire to do. And I love it. If you guys haven't given it a try, there's Buffer, Hootsuite, or Sensible. Those are really great posters. And although people encourage, a lot of coaches say don't use a scheduled poster like that to post on your social media, certainly give it a whirl in your private groups. Be consistent with your daily posting. If you can't be consistent during the week with it, then you need to figure out a way to become consistent, aka planning a couple posts ahead of time for a morning post. Let's say you don't have time to post until 5 p.m., so you're silent all day. A great option is to schedule a post and use one of these programs. It's, Valency, you're looking at me curiously. Sensible, Buffer, and Hootsuite. Yeah? Is that what you were waiting for? I'll repeat it again. Sensible, Buffer, and Hootsuite. So she had that curious look on her face like, I'm ready. And then pin your post at the top, and then the next day unpin that post and pin the next one so that it stays at the top. The one drawback to pinning a post I've noticed, I must say, you can't see the pin post unless you click see pin post on your app, the Facebook app on our phones. It comes up automatically when you're on the computer, but it doesn't on your Facebook app on your phone, just so you know. I always comment and reply to everyone's posts. I participate how I'd want my challengers to. You want to always, I am a challenger first before anything else. You be clear on your expectations. Some people, coaches have said they like to ask people how they rate your day. I know that's something that Melanie Mitro said. She's like, I ask people to rate their days, how they do that day. Whether it's rate your day in terms of emotionally or your workout or whatever. It's kind of like this, like size. Like what's fun about the size calendar is it says like backup dancer, front and center, ready to like lead, ready to be on stage with like Alicia Keys or whatever. You know, like it has you rate every time you dance. Like how much more confident are you feeling? How much, how much saucy are you when you're dancing? And if you're ready to be front and center, so you can actually, the idea is that he wants you to see that progress. So the same thing, rate your days. Oh my gosh, like it's day 7 of this. And, I read personal development now in this group and I'm just feeling so much better. Or someone says, even though I haven't changed the nutrition, I'm doing my workouts and I started reading personal development and this support group has really helped. And then as they mold and make those changes, they'll notice little victories, the fact that they've kept up with their workouts and they've engaged in a group, which is totally out of their comfort zone. For example, sure, they haven't gotten their nutrition in line yet, but that's the next step. There's always a next step. Every Sunday, sharing your meal plan and what you've done for the previous week is a great way to ask other people to share as well, so that you can constantly have rotating schedules, so that I could be like, hey, Valency, like I loved your meal plan this week. Like mine was so friggin' complicated from Shuf Shop that I really liked yours because that sounds way better to make for work this week. So I'm going to steal your meal plan. It's a great way to, and share different ideas. Some people are way more creative with food, because I'm definitely not. Come forth with energy and this can become really mundane if you don't bring the energy and flare things up a bit, and being real. I have been real with my groups recently. I've said, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm really sorry that I've been absent and I've felt it. I feel it in my energy. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in the engagement in our group. And I'm really sorry, things hit the fan, but I'm jumping back in and I'm here, I'm present, I'm working out. I'm focused on me. I'm focused on you. And, I'm here. And, just being real with your team, it speaks volumes, So when people get quiet, I check in with everyone in my groups privately, weekly. Even if they've been posting a lot, I still send them a message. Even something like, oh my gosh, your engagement in this group is beyond amazing. You're phenomenal. I'm so glad everything's going well. Do you need help with anything? And who knows, someone could be struggling with something and they just don't want to share that. You can post something random to get interactions, whatever random thing. I like doing, what I like to incorporate in my newest group is Wacky Wednesdays. And you do something, everyone like posts something crazy. Of course, there's the usual like water challenge or a plank challenge, or the water challenge. I got a lot of engagement from the water challenge for the week of water challenge in my group. And make sure that you're posting all the same stuff that you're asking your challengers to do. You can ask for a whole week, assign a different person each day to be a coach for the day. I've never tried that. I just know I've written it down as something that is one of my goals. So then that's another good way to like see who future coaches would be, because you also want to be prospecting for future coaches. So if you assign someone a coach for the day and they really seized that day and they were really great with it, then maybe it's time for you to tell them, hey, like, have you considered doing this? You seem to have a knack for it. Prizes and points earned. I've done points challenges before and sent prizes to people. If you're local with people, you can do get-togethers, team workouts. That's also a big reason why I got Core de Force certified, so that I could start running classes for the people that live close to me, for my challengers, or so that I could go live in my challenge group and they can follow along on the other side of the live video and do the workout with me, or we can do that all on a live Zoom call. I got certified so that I could add more value to my team and to my people, so think of how you can add value most effectively. make sure that you go over and above, and you honestly will be rewarded. You're going to be rewarded by the fulfillment you feel. You're going to be rewarded by your challengers with loyalty, and you're going to have coaches and a loyal team of coaches. And you know, I don't know. I'm so grateful for coaching and the fulfillment I get from doing this. After a long day at work, like after skipping our call last week, I've just felt kind of drab and uninspired and tired. And now I'm really excited. I'm just excited to see everybody on here. I'm excited to see people make it happen. You know, I'm excited to see Pam at 10 o'clock at night before she gets up at 5 every freaking day to do a workout. I'm excited to see, Valency, who is starting to come down with this sick illness. Like I love seeing her on here. It inspires me so much. And it all starts with the challenge groups. So I think I want to talk more about challenge groups in the upcoming weeks. I think that would be fun. And I'd like everyone to, I'd like other people to speak as well. And I have a guest speaker that I think is going to jump on in the next couple weeks, as long as we have a certain amount of people come on live for the call. So in the upcoming week, I will give more details, and I need confirmation from everyone who's going to come on live, because I don't want to waste anyone's time. So does anybody want to ask any questions before we sign off? Are we good? Okay. All right. Thank you guys, everybody. And I can't wait to see you guys next week.